Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I'm going to share with you a couple of projects that we're doing from this book called Math in the Garden. This book is designed to integrate math and garden work, and we're really enjoying it. And today we're going to do the lesson called Comparing the Area of Leaves, and we're also going to do the following lesson called Area and Perimeter of Leaves. These lessons are packed with activities, they're really well written, and they're also nicely illustrated, making it very easy to follow along with this book. We're going to be doing this lesson primarily outside, and here in our backyard we have a grapevine growing, and this small grape leaf is going to be part of our lesson today. I went ahead and picked a larger one so it would be easier for us to trace, and we're going to get really detailed with this one. And so this is going to be also an observation lesson as well as a leaf comparison lesson. Now, there are some trials when you're working outside, and in part you have to deal with the wind and the distractions, because oftentimes my kids would start a project and then go off and do the gardening, which is fine too. So my 6-year-old daughter is here working on hers, and she is participating in her own capacity, but this lesson is primarily for my 10-year-old, and this is his work right here. Took a little while for him to get it positioned well. The wind did make it a little bit more difficult. Now, I held up the leaf so that you could see all the details with the veins, and we went ahead and tried to do something similar, but if I were to repeat this lesson in the future, I would skip this part. Now comes the fun part, in my opinion, and that is to watercolor these. We're using our Distress inks, and all you have to do is just take the little ink pad and smush it on top of a non-porous surface, and then you can use them as watercolors. Now, since we are working in our garden journal, which is made out of drawing paper, we're finding it better to use kind of a drier watercolor rather than a wet on wet technique. Of course, you could also use color pencils, and you could just leave your sketches without filling them in. We decided to outline this one with a fine liner, and it just kind of gives it a nice look at the end. Of course, that is optional. And then we went ahead and got an avocado leaf, strawberry leaves, and a tomato leaf in order to do our comparison. And my son is here just finishing up watercoloring those leaves after a lot of gardening fun. And he went ahead and labeled them, and now it's time to do the math portion of this lesson. There are many different ways that you can do this, and the first thing that we're going to do is actually just measure the perimeter. And we just used a string, and then we went ahead and laid that down onto our ruler or onto your tape measure, and then we could find the perimeter of all the leaves. So I'm just going to do this again here to show you that it does take a little bit of work to get that string wrapped around the leaves, and if there's a lot of detail, I would just kind of do it kind of easy and loose. Now, if you want to continue with this project, you can find the area by measuring across and then measuring up and down, and then multiplying the two to get the square centimeters for the area of that leaf. Now, you can also get more specific with your math by dividing up the leaf into two sections, especially if the leaf is a different shape near the bottom versus near the top. And then you can take the area of each of those sections and then add them together. Now, this was a little bit more complicated for my son, but I did still explain it to him, but you can just see what works for your child. If both of these methods are still too complicated for your child, you can try another method, and that's to use any kind of manipulative that you can put on the inside of your leaf in order to use that to figure out the area. And then you just have to count them, and we just labeled each leaf the number of these little manipulatives. So I hope this project gave you some ideas on how you can integrate math and garden work. If you want to see how the rest of our garden journal is progressing, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine. And if you want to see the complete playlist for this unit, you can tap on the screen.